Hi guys, welcome to Facebook Live. I'm your host, Rose.
And I'm your host, Lauren.
And today we're going to be going over what makes a successful student with Autumn. But before we jump in and introduce Autumn to you all, let's go over a few do's and don'ts for today while we're streaming. Lauren, what do you got for us?
Sure. So your first do is please share this with any of your friends who are currently learning, as I think everyone could benefit from our discussion that we'll be having with Autumn today. And leave any comments with any questions or any feedback, whatever you're feeling. We would love to see it in the comment section below, but please do not share any personal information because, of course, the comments are public. If you have any questions and you're a current student, you can always call Student Services at 1-888-427-1000. And if you're not a student yet, but would like to ask some questions about what Penn Foster is like, you can call our admissions department at 1-888-427-6500, and we can chat there. You can also send a message right to our Facebook page if you have any easy questions that would require you to give off any personal information. But we'll keep the conversation about what we're talking about today on Facebook. And to start that off, we'll introduce our awesome guest, Autumn. Yay. She has a lot of experience in the student community, so you might have seen her in there. She leads our student ambassadors, and she is the one that interviews a lot of you and a lot of our graduates for the Alumni Spotlight podcast, for blogs, for videos. So you likely have seen her face or her name before, but here she is in person, Autumn.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Autumn, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do in a little bit more detail, and also if you have any fun facts about yourself.
Oh, I wasn't prepared for that one. So like Lauren mentioned, I was in the community a lot more, but mainly now I'm working with our ambassadors. So we have a really great group of student ambassadors, which I know we're going to get to a little bit later. So I work with them to, motivate students, and they do a lot for Penn Foster, and we love and appreciate them. And then also I work to interview some of our amazing students and graduates. You may have heard or seen some of our podcasts being shared. I'm really talking with them to see, how Penn Foster helped them, what advice they give to current students in the same program as them, what they're up to now, and, how they can help motivate students continue studying and reaching their goals. Fun fact, I do photography outside of work.
Excellent. She's an excellent artist and photographer. And I think that's one of the great things about you, Autumn, is that when you interview students or when you look for these amazing stories from our students, and everything that you do is artful, and you really want to find the heart and soul in everything, whether it's your photography, just everything about life, you really like to just take it in and put it into a little package for us all to enjoy. And I feel like you really do that with our student stories. You find such incredible, there's so many of you guys out there, and we want to hear all of your stories. And Autumn does such a good job, finding you. And also, if you're interested in telling your story, if you're interested in an interview, go ahead and leave it in the comments. We can always send you a direct message. But it is fascinating how good you are at really getting to the core of some of the success that our students do and capturing that too, because Autumn has taken some photos of previous graduates of the year. She has captured a lot of photos at graduation events. You're just, a great person all around, Autumn. You do so many incredible things.
Thank you.
She is. And because of all the work that Autumn does with our learners and with our graduates, she is a great person to talk to us today about what makes a successful student. So we're going to go over how to define success as an online student. I know for a lot of you, it can seem obvious, but sometimes it's really not. What marks success and what you actually should be feeling really good about and proud of yourself for. We'll talk about what Autumn does to gather and share stories for our amazing students, and how you can be part of sharing your own story. We'll talk about the Student Ambassador Program, and we could talk a little bit about how to get involved in that too. And then she'll share some tips that she's learned from talking to students that can hopefully help all of you on your path to success. So to kick us off, Autumn, how would you define, or what are some qualities that you often see in successful students?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think, just being motivated and having the drive to, better themselves and succeed. A lot of the students that I talk with often say just logging on is one of the biggest keys to their success. You cannot feel like doing the work sometimes, and you can, it's easy to brush aside, especially as an online learner where it's a self-paced program. You're really in it. There's no instructor guidance every day. An instructor is telling you, hey, it's time to turn in this, it's time to turn in that. And while it's self-paced is great, it can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. So just making sure that you log on and, start to do some of the work, even if it's just, a lesson a day or even a chapter, just reading something. And sometimes success can look a little bit different for everyone. So whether it's, just showing up and putting in the work, or even celebrating little achievements. If you got a good grade on something, pat yourself on the back, reward yourself. And then obviously, graduating, that's the end goal for you all and reaching that level of success. But everything along the way is important, and every little step counts. And you don't have to have this huge goal to finish in 2 months, or do as much as you can, and taking little steps to get you where you are. So many students I talk to always mention that they kind of piece to look at the things in little pieces. If I get to this place by this date, and it makes it more digestible, and it doesn't make it seem so overwhelming, so you can reach your goals.
I think that's a really good point that you mentioned, that success looks different for everyone, because I think sometimes we can hear, I'm a successful student. And what do you think that is? That's a person who never fails. They never have any failures. They never mess anything up. They get straight A's. They finish sooner than everybody else. That's really not what a successful student, that is a successful student, but that isn't the one definition of a successful student. Like you said, just keeping motivated, just logging in once a day, like having these little habits that you can set for yourself so that you can just accomplish small goals and have small celebrations along the way. That really, to me, that's a successful student. A successful student is somebody who keeps at it, even when, you might have a few setbacks along the way. Doesn't make you anything less than a successful student. So thank you so much for mentioning that, because I do think that, it's easy to hear like, oh, successful students, like, I didn't get a great grade once, so that's not me. And that's totally untrue. So I think it was really great that you clarified that success looks different for everyone.
Absolutely. And on that note, with it looking different for everyone, why do you think, that would be a reason, but just in addition to that, like, why do you think it's important for students to hear from other students and graduates themselves on what kept them motivated and what success looks like to them?
Yeah, so I think it's important to note, like I mentioned, everyone's different, and everyone has a different background and story and a place that got them to, or a reason that got them to Penn Foster and to enroll. So I think it's important for students to hear from other students or even alumni, because it makes it seem like a more tangible goal of finishing and then having an actual, outcome from their graduating. There's so many graduates who talk about, what they're up to in the field and how Penn Foster helped prepare them, or how these motivation tips worked, or these study habits worked for me. And so many students are willing to share that with other students to show them that this is something that you can actually do. And this is how I became successful, graduated, finished, or even are moving along. You don't always feel like logging on, or maybe you're not the best studier or note taker, but if you're hearing from other students tips and tricks that worked for them, and then that's going to help you later and make you want to continue. Because it could be, if you don't think you're doing the best, or you're not as motivated, you don't want to continue because you kind of get down on yourself. But hearing from other students say, I had this struggle and this is how I overcame it, I think it's really important for students to hear, and to hear from each other and alumni that are in the field that are being successful.
Yeah, and like here we are today on Facebook Live, you are all talking in the comments, like, get to know each other a little bit better, share some study tips. If you're feeling really good about yourself, tell us why you're feeling good about yourself and your studies. And I think sharing those stories with one another is super motivating and super important. So you all have that power in the Penn Foster community to do that. And I think that's a really Your perspective, Autumn, you've heard so many student stories. I feel like you've gotten all the tips, all the tricks, but there's always more. I feel like every time you interview a new student, there's like another thing that we learn about, like, oh, that's such a genius idea, or that's such a smart way of time managing, or that's such a brilliant way to take notes, or just how people have used their studies to overcome obstacles in their own life, and also that they've overcome obstacles in their own life because of their studies. And there's a lot of, you've heard so many interesting perspectives.
Yeah, definitely.
And stories. And everybody is a different learner. So I guess a big question that I have for you is, say you're watching today and you are like, you know what, I have a pretty cool story, or, maybe my story could help somebody and I would like to share it. How would you have somebody reach out to you about sharing their story?
That's a great question, Rose. So we have a form that we created that's called our Alumni Spotlight form. So this allows you to either choose to be, interviewed on camera or for a podcast, or if you're a little camera shy, or you don't really like the idea of being interviewed and then having your voice out there, that's totally fine too. There's a blog option. So we have an informal and a formal option where you can choose. Based on what you choose, I'll contact you about, which way is best for you to be interviewed. And then from there on the form, you're going to answer some questions about, what the program you took was, what made you enroll in Penn Foster, how did you find out about Penn Foster, like I mentioned before, motivation and study tips you'd give to other students, and then also what you're up to now. Are you working in the field? What have you been up to since graduating? Fun facts about yourself, and what you would like people to know most about you. Everyone's story is different, like I mentioned, and like Rose said, I learn something new every day from talking to our learners, but I would say everyone comes into it thinking that they don't really have much to share, or they don't really have anything to say, but I've been so inspired by every single person that I've talked to, and you definitely do have a lot to say, and it's been helping other learners succeed and other students really reach their goals. So definitely sign up, and I would be more than happy to talk with you.
And we'll drop the link to that form in the comments, so if you're a current student or a graduate and you're interested in sharing your story, you can fill out that form right now while you listen to this.
It's a great way to, I think, to celebrate your accomplishments. Even if your accomplishments are like, hey, I'm a quarter way through the program, I never thought I would ever go back to school, or I never would enroll in another like career training program again, or something along those lines. I think that sharing your story, being interviewed, it is kind of an exciting feeling to get to just kind of talk about your own methods and who you are, and where you found your confidence and how you can share this information with others. It really is celebratory, because then you could share it on social, you could tell your friends, you can advertise it on your LinkedIn or wherever you would want to put that podcast. So I think it's just a fun way of doing good for others and also celebrating yourself at the same time.
Yeah. Speaking of social media, I just want to make a quick plug. We just had, with the traditional graduation season happening in June, a lot of you guys shared awesome graduation photos on our social media channels, and we love seeing them. We love resharing them. We love celebrating you. So please, if you hit a milestone or feel just really proud of yourself, or want to share a study tip, or want to share how you stay motivated, post or send us like a direct message on Facebook or Instagram with a picture and a little caption, and we're more than happy to share. And I know a lot of you love seeing those, so
I think that's
what we're up to.
It's a great way to help students and help whether you're a graduate or a student, a great way, or even to excite some people that are thinking about, like, should I take the plunge, should I enroll, should I go back to school? I think Autumn, another great way that our students and graduates can really reach out and share information and help each other is our student ambassador program, which you play a very big role in. You run the program. I'm just wondering if you could describe what the student ambassador program is.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I do, I want to just mention to Lauren's point about sharing on social. I've had so many conversations with students that say they see, the milestones that other students are sharing are their grad photos, and that makes them want to do better and keep going because they're like, this person did it, I can too. And that's the same for in our student community when you guys share, where you're at or how much % you complete with your program. That's really helping other students. So definitely keep those coming. As for student ambassador program, so our ambassador program is really a group of our student leaders. These are some really great students who want to be leaders or mentors to other students and take the time to help other students succeed. We have a great group of students, student ambassadors. You can find them in the community under the Meet the Ambassador space. And they also share a lot online. Lauren shares some of their successes on social media, and you can always see them posting in the community. A lot of these students are mentors and, are just really great friends in the community. They help other learners, other students along, answer questions that they may have regarding their program or contacting student services or anything like that. And then also, of course, motivation tips, words of encouragement, and they're really just there to support you and help you reach your goals. They also create a monthly newsletter that's really great. Each month they have a different theme. So they'll answer student frequently asked questions they're seeing in the community. They'll celebrate student grad achievements, anything like that. They're all about celebrating fellow students and classmates. And they're a really great group of students.
What's some of the perks to being a student ambassador?
Yeah, so you get obviously leadership and mentorship skills. It's something you can use on your resume. You'll learn, how to write social media posts, how to do some things that may help you later on if you're writing emails, how to be a little more professional, how to be that next level of student. And then at the end of the year, you receive some Penn Foster swag. You are represented on our social channels, and a lot of feel good stuff, a lot of things like that.
So staying connected with the student ambassadors and other learners is like one great way to stay motivated, and you might say one tip to becoming a successful student. Yes. So I know we just talked a lot about how to share your story and your tips or get those tips from others, but do you have any tips for us here today live that would help students who are watching be more successful in their online studies?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would just taking from what I hear from other students and student ambassadors, like I mentioned, logging on is, one of the first steps. But also a lot of students that I've talked to and student ambassadors talk about how they create, flashcards, how they take the time to study at least, dedicating a single part of their day. Maybe if they work best, you learn best in the morning, or if you learn best at night. A lot of our students may be single parents, so talking about how when they study when their kids are asleep. I recently interviewed someone who said they studied with their kid, and when their child wasn't studying, saw that they weren't studying, they said, "Why don't you study with me anymore?" So reaching out and having that support system within your family to hold you accountable. Aside from that, coming up with the dedicated study space. I talked to so many people who they go to this one part of their house where this is where they study and this is when they learn best. And also taking a walk and getting outside and thinking about what you want to do, reaching your goals, taking that break. But then also, I always get pictures from our ambassadors that they're in a hammock with their laptop, taking a test. And, there's no better way to take a test than that. That just sounds perfect.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Right. So a lot of things like that. And then also, watching what other people are doing. It may feel like sometimes it's hard not to look at it like a competition, but if you go into it like, okay, this person did this, I can do this too, it helps move you along. And it's not a competition, it's just you being motivated by their success because you want to be there too. You want to be graduating, you want to be 50% along in your program, you want to reach those milestones too. And then also staying motivated by celebrating yourself. Molly, who's one of our student ambassadors, got a new job, and she celebrated herself by buying some new scrubs because she wasn't able to ever wear fun scrubs at work, and now she can. So it's just the little things like that.
That's adorable. That's a really good story. I think we just recently had a graduate of the year finalist that we interviewed who mentioned that in the evenings she would do all of her reading. and let it digest. And in the mornings, she would prepare for the tests.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really interesting tip.
Just on that note, Autumn did interviews with all of our Graduate of the Year finalists, and they're on our podcast. So we've shared them on this Facebook page. If you scroll down a little bit, all of the recent podcasts are Graduate of the Year finalist interviews, and you can also just go to our Penn Foster on SoundCloud page, and you'll see all of those great interviews. And these are some truly, truly exceptional graduates. So they have a lot of great advice and set a good example on how to be very successful.
Yeah, there was a ton of great interviews. Really inspiring students
and
out there.
A ton of great submissions as well. Just all around, we have such an incredible student body and alumni. I mean, it's just something for me personally I feel so proud of. I feel so proud of our students and our graduates' accomplishments. I just feel very connected to it, and I think it's just so wonderful to read and hear all the stories. So as a student or someone thinking about becoming a student or a graduate, stay connected with us. We're here. We want to celebrate you. We want to learn who you are. We want to know more about you. It really is. It's just kind of good for all of us. We all love it.
Well, Autumn, I think you shared a lot of really great information today in terms of what success looks like, and that it is so individual to all of you. And I think to everyone watching, just take a moment to really feel proud of yourself and all that you're accomplishing. Even just by watching this, you are taking a step toward bettering yourself in your education and in your life. And that's awesome. And you deserve to feel good about that. So hopefully you learned some great knowledge on that today, and know where to find some other sources of motivation in the podcast and on our YouTube channel and the community. Log into the student community today. If you don't have an account, you can sign up for one. You will have to be approved, so it just might take a little while, a day or so for that to happen. So if you can't get it immediately, make sure you try to log back in. And we hope to stay connected, and we hope you stay motivated, because we believe in you and your success.
And
so thank you so much, Autumn.
Yes, of course. If you need motivation, don't forget we're on Facebook Live here pretty much every 2 weeks. So you can catch up with us, share your thoughts, ask us questions. We're here for you. And it was really great having you today, Autumn. I feel like you're a conduit to so many interesting student stories and so many amazing success stories and success in all different shapes and forms that it works for, different people. So thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.